We are Tristan and Michael. When we got married, we didn't really know what we were getting into. The busyness and challenges of a blended family, trying to figure out how to love an imperfect person, dealing with the ups and downs of becoming one, and everything that goes into having a successful relationship. Let's learn how to heal, how to forgive, and how to grow. This is Fused. Thank you for tuning in. We are Tristan and Michael, and you are listening to Fuse, transparent conversations from marriage, family, and relationships. We invite you to join us as we discuss perspectives that are thought about but not talked about. So tell your friends and family to check us out. Connect with us on social media at Fused Marriages, or join the conversation by emailing us at info@fusedmarriages.com. All right, we made it.
We made it, 2021.
2021.
We all in it. We in it.
So grateful.
Oh, for real.
Yeah.
Gotta be. It's a blessing, for real.
It is. It is.
You can't understate that.
No, because 2020 had some challenges.
It did. It did. You know what I mean? Even some lingering challenges, but
That's true.
we have turned the page
Yes.
to a new year. So, yeah. So, hopefully, y'all, you know what, are still riding with us and everything's good with y'all's family. We know there's a lot going on with work and everything. So, you know, hopefully everybody's job and kids and family is safe and healthy and moving into 2021.
Yeah, but if you're still here, that means that you still have purpose. There's still something that we have to offer to the world. So welcome to 2021. We are excited to have you here with us at Fuse Marriages. So what are we talking about today?
Yeah, but for sure. But you know what? Like, subscribe. You know what? Just jump on all the social media, fusemarriages.com, at Fuse Marriages on Instagram and Facebook. You know, check us out.
Yeah, hang out with us a little more. We want to get some feedback from you.
For sure. So, but today, you know what? So typically, you know, you go into the new year, everybody wants to have like, you know what? I'm going to set some goals or some New Year's resolutions. And it's like, that's a cool thing. You know what I mean? Because it's like, it's good to kind of just reset.
Yeah.
Right. But I ask myself the question. Sometimes I ask myself questions. You know, I don't know what you do, but I talk to myself, but it's not out loud. But in my head, I ask myself the question of saying, you know what? Should relationships be having goals?
Should relationships have goals? Like, you know, you see that hashtag all over the place, like relationship goals.
Yeah, but like, okay, people say that, but like, what do they mean when they say that?
True.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? I have seen that hashtag though, relationship goals. And like, I don't really know what they mean when they say it, because I don't see anything tangible, like, you know, what type of goal they talking about. So we're going to talk about some tangible goals. We're going to start off with the singles first.
And I'm saying single ladies. Single ladies.
Yeah.
No, you can't.
No,
you can't do the dance with me.
Okay. If y'all go to YouTube and y'all listen to podcasts, just check it. I got a little dance. I'll be getting it. Okay. In my head, I do. In my head, I do. Not actual factual. In my head, I'm the best of the best dancers.
Yeah. We'll have to talk about that at some point.
Yeah. I'm that car dancer though. We got off track right now, but don't worry about it. But you know what? I'm in that car dancer when you know what you got
like
your...
you got it,
man,
right?
I got
or
them
if
bumping.
You like a wall dancer, you like... but then you get out on the dance floor and you like,
it's something else
what's happening with the rest of your body?
It ain't working.
I got the shoulders. That's my dance.
You got the shimmy shoulders. You the queen of that for real.
I know.
You the
That's
queen.
what I do. You do too much more, you get in trouble.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So
relationship goals.
And like the question is, you know, should we have goals? Like really establishing them beginning of every year.
Yeah.
And like if somebody is dating, I'm saying single, but you're dating somebody, not single, but you're actually dating somebody.
Okay.
And y'all two are really, you know what? Should you have a goal established between y'all two?
Yeah, I think so. I don't see why if you are married or you're single, why you shouldn't have, you know, objectives in your relationship. So we're talking to single people at this moment. So I think if you're single, having direction in your relationship, now it might not be the same kind of conversation that you would have with somebody that you're, you know, that you're married to, but it, you know, kind of that. I always, you know, I heard it from a girlfriend a long time ago. It's the define the relationship conversation, the DTR. So, hey, you know, we're still going the same direction. How are you feeling about this year? How are you feeling about our relationship? having that conversation, that to me is important. And then once you establish, hey, we're on the same page, we're still moving forward. Okay, what is it that we hope to accomplish this year? Are we going to do premarital counseling this year? Are we going to, read a book together that talks about our relationship so we can kind of dive deeper? Are we going to meet one another's family, maybe in a different context? I think if you're a single parent, are you going to introduce your child this year, or are you going to begin conversations this year about, hey, this is what mommy or daddy is doing, or mom or dad, depending on the age of your kid? I think that it's important to kind of establish some direction, because it would be easy not to. It would be easy to just say, hey, love you, kiss, and let's just kind of roll through the year and see what happens. And when you have a see what happens in a relationship, you can often be caught off guard. You're not really having any same aim. So one person could have something in mind that the other person doesn't have in mind, just that could have been remedied had you had a conversation. Yeah. So I think that's important. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think I'm in agreement with you, but I'm like, okay, how do you have that conversation, or how do you have that? If I'm dating somebody and, we've been maybe dating for 6 months, a year even. And like, particularly, if I'm the man, I would think he has more of a leverage of asking, hey, where you at? You my woman? Because, it's just different. But if you the woman, how does a woman approach her dude with like, what we doing? She can't say that. She can't say what we doing. She can't say what we doing because he gonna skate and He gonna move around like it's like the plague is being asked.
Well, then he was not the one. If you ask him what's the direction and he's like trying to move around, oh no, then it wasn't gonna go that right direction.
I'm gonna tell you why it may not be true. Because it may not be true. He may be skating around. He may not know how to express his feelings in that way.
Okay.
And may be kind of hesitant, especially if you catch him off guard with it. Like, hey, we watching, something on TV. And like all of a sudden, hey, what we doing for 2021? He go like, what you mean?
You don't have to say it necessarily that directly, but it can be like, hey, I'm setting some goals for myself this year. Maybe you share a couple of yours. Like, do you have any goals that you're setting? Well, how about we try to maybe set one together? And that can depend on how deep into the relationship you are. If you're in year 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're still dating, there's got to be some kind of conversation. If you're maybe in month 1 or month 2, y'all met during the pandemic, so you haven't really had a chance to experience each other, or maybe you've only been together for such a short amount of time. There are always objectives. There are always some things that you can come together on. It might be like, hey, let's try a healthy eating challenge together. That could be a goal that we do. Or, hey, let's try to make a regular date night where we get, dressed up. It's not just like a kicking it at the house. Like, maybe we get dressed up, or maybe I'm going to try to watch more sports with you, or maybe you can do whatever with me. So I think there's always room. There's always room.
It's always room. So like, so we got some people that maybe have are dating people, some women that are dating some men that, they may be 3-4 months in. And they're trying to figure out, okay, because really, I'm assuming now, you can answer from a woman's standpoint, they go into the next year like thinking, okay, things are going to move one way or another. But they may not know how to talk, right, to that man, even if they're 2 or 3 months in, to say, okay, is it progressing down the right path? Because what happens is they get 6 months in, they started 2 months, they get six more months in. And really, that dude was like, he was kind of just slow rolling because that's where he's at.
Okay.
But that should have been asked earlier on.
Yeah.
And nothing like asking that at the beginning of the year, like, hey, and I don't know, and maybe you can help some women. How should they be like, asking their dude, like, hey, what is the status of where we're at?
Well, I think it might depend on the personality of the individuals. Sometimes I've heard, man, women, y'all are just so pushy. Why can't we just get to know each other? It might depend on the age. Like, hey, when you 45 and trying to find your spouse, it's different than when you 20.
Well,
so we have different goals, objectives, and my timeline might different. Look, and it might also depend on the gender. So I would think, and I can't speak from the male perspective, but a lot of the single women that I know that are 30 and over, like you just don't want to waste time with somebody who just wants to kick it and kind of see. Like, so I guess the way that I would approach it is like establishing up front, like from the beginning, not be so eager to be in a relationship that you just kind of wasting time with old boy. So if y'all are hanging out as friends and there's no there you aren't dating, it's just like, oh, every now and then we hang out, then y'all just friends, and both need to know we just friends until it comes to like, hey, we're getting a little more serious. You know, it seems like we're spending a lot of time together. Is this something that you're comfortable with? Whoever has that conversation, I would prefer it would be the guy. But if he's slow rolling it, I just don't. For my sisters, because I see this with the women, I don't want you wasting your time with dudes. Even as you roll into the new year, you know, new year, new me. I'm trying to work on some things, and you hooked up to this brother that's like, just kind of chill on the relationship. If you want to be in a relationship and you want to be married, this is Tristan speaking. You might agree or disagree, but if you want to be in a relationship and you want to be married and you want to, you know, have that as a part of your world, why waste time with some dude that doesn't? And if he's made that clear, if he's just kind of taking it a little slow, that's a little bit different. If he's just like, you know what, I just want to figure it out, cool. But if he like, nah, I'm not really trying to be in a relationship. You know, I got this going on. I'm just kind of having fun. Then if you cool with just having fun, don't try to change his mind, because I see that a lot of like, well, you know, we really enjoy each other. We'll see. You better put him in that category of friend. Don't try to be like, well, he gonna be in friend, but I'm really gonna try to convince him that I'm the one that he wants. Like, I just see a lot of women wasting time with dudes that just want to be a friend, and they said it, but you don't believe them.
Right.
Like, believe what he said.
Right.
That's what I think.
I got some advice for some women.
Okay.
The women that are dating somebody, right? And they trying to, what you just said, they trying to figure it out if where he's at.
Okay.
He not really saying yes, he not really saying no.
Yeah.
But he like a good dude, right? He could be going to church, working, this, that, and the other. Like, you know, he come by every now and again, check on you, whoop.
There's more to being a good dude than going to church and working.
Absolutely. I'm just saying he
got some potential.
He fits.
Okay.
He not like out there, you know, selling drugs. Just got out fresh out of pen. You know what I mean? He ain't that type of dude.
Okay.
He ain't dogging women out. He not that. All that's a whole different category.
Yeah.
But there's some women dating some men out there. They kind of like, man, I'm trying to like, I don't know. He ain't really, you know, this, that, and the other. One thing women y'all can do.
Okay.
Is that
my ears are all perked up?
Yeah.
I'm listening.
One thing y'all can do, because really some good dudes just don't know how to communicate how they feel.
Fair.
And like they get a little scared. You know what I mean? They like that pressure sometimes, like, okay, hold on.
Okay.
And they don't want to step into something that they uncertain about.
Okay, that's fair.
But one thing a woman can do that's dating a guy that they really are feeling or thinking it has some good potential or whatever is that get that guy around some other men that she trusts. They'll find out. They'll let her know. They'll let her know the real.
Okay,
Your
hold on.
uncle.
Say it again.
Get that guy you dating. Get him around some men you trust. It could be just somebody, you know, it can be your uncle, it could be your brother, it could be just a friend a guy friend that you know what, that you trust as your brother's friend, whoever. Just kind of like,
okay,
get that guy that you dating around some real dudes.
Some real
dudes. Because real dudes ain't cheating on their women. You know what I mean? Real dudes ain't like out in the club hunting. You know what I mean? We trying to get the bag. You know what I mean? We trying to take care of our kids. And we trying to better ourselves. Right? And we all come in different shape, form, and sizes, and what that looks like. You know what I mean? But some real dudes are gonna be they're gonna be able to see through all the facade he putting up, if he's putting up any, and tell you like, you know what? Yeah, you want to slow that down. And you're gonna have to trust them. So you gotta pick somebody you trust to go be able to evaluate this. They're gonna give you some real input.
Okay.
And some of it may not be what you like. Some of it may be like, okay, you know what? He a good dude. He just ain't committed yet, but he a good dude.
I think that's fair.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I know somebody that's up in a different part of the state. They can say, you know what? He a good dude. I can say he a good dude. And if the woman got to be like, okay, well, he ain't really fully committed yet, or he ain't really told me this, that, and the other. Just give him a little time. You know what I mean? Because we can see through all the facade. So that's my advice right there.
Real, recognize real.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Yes, indeed.
So that's some advice for some of our single friends, some of our single listeners. Let us know what your thoughts are. You know, comment, like, subscribe, talk back to us. But what are your thoughts for married relationship goals for people out here that are married?
Yeah, I mean, so switching over to marriage. So like, if you're married, it's like I think it's an absolute must. And you and I have talked about it. We continue to talk about it to have goals for your marriage, right? And I think goals in the aspect of, and we're gonna talk about what the kind of goals that we should have, that people should have, but you should absolutely every year try to establish some goals for your marriage.
Okay.
Right. And the first one, even though it's not the most important one, but it isn't, it's we got three of them we're gonna talk about. The first one is you gotta have some financial goals.
Okay.
Y'all gotta sit down and talk about what do y'all want to do financially for yourselves and for the family. What does that look like? How much debt you want to pay down? What kind of car you want to get? You know what I mean? She made like handbags and shoes. You know what I mean? Like, hey, whatever that, put that in there. Like, hey, this is a goal, right? We're trying to get this. What kind of, how many trips we want to take? All this financial, because it costs money.
Right.
And a lot of times we have different thoughts about, okay, what we think and this, that, and the other. We don't necessarily talk about it. We bring it up, you know, it'll be like 3 months in. You're like, hold on, why you didn't say that way back? And we got to do that. We got to have the financial goals.
Okay. What's the next one?
So the next one is, once you get past the financial goals, you got to have relationship goals, right? And relationship goals, that's a real generic term, but the relationship goals basically, you know what? How much time are we going to spend with one another? And how are we going to spend it? Because you may say, I mean, you work a lot, you may got kids, but you got to figure out what kind of time are y'all going to have together.
Okay.
Right.
What kind of time that you're going to have together? So dive into that just a little bit. Dive into, okay, how much time and what are you going to do with that time? Go on.
Yeah. So, I mean, because what happens is like, and it happens to me, you, y'all, it's like, it just, life gets busy. You get doing stuff, you know, whether stuff you like, stuff you have to do, stuff you want to do. And all of a sudden, you know what, your partner looking like, man, hold on, what about us? And then we write a song about that. What about us?
What about us?
Yeah, what about us? And like, and either,
what about us?
Come on, get a hook to that.
I got you.
You got me, I know you do. But like, and it easily can happen, right? The person that's kind of like the busiest is probably the one that kind of doesn't really like, they're like, oh, okay, they just like doing their thing. The person like, hold on, I got like 30 minutes over here, an hour, and I can't even get that. You've been gone all day. You've been, been working all day. You've been dealing with them all day, or all week, or all month. I just need an hour. Can we, spend a little time?
So how small in segments does that have to be? Like, is it like, okay, this is our goal, like weekly or monthly? Like how and how big of increments are we looking at here?
I mean, to me, I wouldn't micromanage like set an established time, but like, man, it got to be like, we got to cut away something. You know what I mean? Like, it got to be, it's first of all, if it's talked about, then it's probably going to be some actions behind how we're going to make that happen.
Okay.
Even if you don't set no, like, okay, every week we're going to do this, you know what I mean? But like, hey, you know what? We got to, on a weekly or monthly basis, let's try to take some dates. Okay. You know what I mean? COVID can't happen is right now, so we can't necessarily go do.
You can be creative.
You can be. But we can't like go out to eat. We shouldn't. Some of y'all probably doing that, but we ain't,
We're not going to judge.
No, I'm not going to judge. I'm just saying y'all shouldn't be eating out right now.
We just see y'all on the gram. So, okay, so we have financial goals.
Yep. Then
we have our relational goals, how we relate together. Okay, what's the third category?
The third one is individual goals, right? Okay. And importance, like you said, and actually you helped me learn this, is like, man, how am I supposed to know what you want to do if you don't tell me? For a goal walk, you know what I mean? Because most of us are goal driven.
Right.
If we got, to a certain place in life, every year, even if it's in our mind, be like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And like, you go try to do it, but then you have your partner, they like, okay, well, what you doing? You always busy doing this, that, and the other. And you like, that's my goal. And you don't say that's my goal, but like, hey, I'm just doing what I do. And then you get the crosshairs in there, you know what I mean? People get the wires, intertwined, and like, confusion comes in. And like, you don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. Even though I have something very valid, you know what I mean? I want to learn how to play the piano. So I'm up and you know what? Doing my Mozart. I play Mozart, not really, but.
Say it all hard.
Yeah. Mozart. Yeah.
Yeah. You over here trying to be Brian McKnight.
Yeah. Yeah. I already don't play Mozart, but
Someday, babe.
In my head, I want to,
yeah,
be that good, but I'm not.
We gonna work on it because he really does want to play piano. So all you piano teachers out there, holla at us. Okay, so we talk about the financial goals. So the financial goals, you're setting a budget, and with your finances, during this time, I believe you should be dreaming like, hey, this is where we are. This is where I want to be by, 6 months from now. Do you think we can do this? Sitting down. And these are, I believe, these are things that are written down. So there's not just a conversation. It's something that you can reference so that you have a point to look back and say, like, okay, we said it's January. We said by June that we want to have saved this much. How are we? Man, we're a little bit off. Okay, maybe we need to make up a little time and save a little bit more. Or, man, we're doing really well. We've paid this off, or we've accomplished this, or, creating. It's even bigger than just your budget. It's bigger than balancing your checkbook. It's bigger than looking towards April. Like, man, when we get that refund back, it's like, okay, this is where we are. Where do we want to go long term? And then to get there, what does that mean we have to do now? And you're very good at that. And typically, both of you should be concerned, and by concerned, I mean involved with this process, but also there should be somebody that really, that's their gift and they can spearhead it. So you're not bucking each other.
Right.
Like, it's like, okay, hey, Michael, he likes making spreadsheets. Okay. I like typing. Michael wants to make a spreadsheet for everything. So I let him, and he can pull out the spreadsheet and it has all the columns and color coded and all of this so that we can say like, hey, how are we doing with this aspect of our budget? Hey, we were going to do this for the kids, or this for the house, or this personally. So I think that that's a really great goal. And then you mentioned relationship, how you kind of commune. And ladies and gentlemen, that can be so many things when you're looking at how can we come together as a couple, because that can be like we were talking about with the singles. Hey, and for singles, some of these can also obviously relate to you. If you're talking about marriage and engagement, at some point you have to have a conversation about budget. You have to have a conversation about coming together. You have to have a conversation about, hey, how much are we going to spend on the wedding? Depending on your age, you may or may not have family saying, hey, I'm going to write this check, or depending on the family dynamics. So, hey, are we going to have a big wedding? Are we going to travel? If you have kids, hey, how much do we spend on children? Those are conversations as you're moving towards the altar that you say, we definitely need to talk about this to my single parents, either male or female. Hey, how much do you spend on the kids right now? Hey, they're in sports. If they're playing tournament, that's a lot of money. It is. So what are you doing with that? But if you're married, it's the same kind of conversation, talking about finances, talking about relationships. Are you going to be reading together? Are you going to try to have date night every other week? What is it that you're doing as you come together? So I really like how you organize the goals. And then that third and final one is generally the easiest for us because it is what we already think about, right?
To me, it's easy, but it's like, you got to communicate that thing.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
That's the hard
because
part.
We do already, it's just something that kind of triggers when there's like a new year coming. You kind of think, what am I going to be doing this year? How am I going to make this a better year than last year? Right. But I think when you are in relationship, that it becomes challenging just for what you said, because now I have to articulate it, and it can be very vulnerable because there are some things that you kind of think about. You might be trying to address an insecurity. Hey, I don't feel good about this part of myself. I really want to do this, or something that you might have not even talked about before. Like, you know what? I really want to cook more. And if he's like, if the dude's like, you know what, babe, I really want to cook more. I wish you would help me cook. It can kind of be a shutdown. So my whole perspective would be to make sure you're gentle when you're sharing your goals, and to make sure that you have the time, like even if it's going to break it down. Because I categorize everything. I have to, because I want to make sure that I'm progressing as a person. So I have personal goals for where I want to be spiritually, where I want to be mentally, where I want to be physically, where I want to be financially.
Yes,
I have goals of things that I really want to purchase that year. Like, okay, these are things that I've been looking at. I think I want to buy this.
All written down too, y'all. That's crazy.
All written down.
I ain't never seen that. Like, it's like 5 pages. I'm being for real.
It is.
I'm like, okay, hold on.
I have goals for the kids. Like, okay, I really want to get them involved with this, or I really want to try or start this. I have goals for my home, things that didn't work. Okay, that didn't work from last year. Let me see if I can restructure that. Let me try to see if I can, make different things happen in business or community, or how active I am with my friends or things like that. And, the truth is you don't want to be held hostage to your list. That's my first kind of piece of advice, is you don't want to be held hostage. You want to write it down as a reference point, but be forgiving to yourself and your spouse. Like if he says that he's going to do the dishes every Friday and he misses a Friday, you can't be like, I thought you said you were going to do the dishes. Cause that's not going to be encouraging anybody to be better. It might be like, man, I wish, let's try to partner on this, because here, let me help you out on this. Or, hey, that's part of why you communicate it, right?
Yeah,
because it's like you have that system of accountability so that you can be a better team, right?
Yep.
So if I say to Michael, man, I want to start like lifting more weights, and he can see me and be like, hey, babe, how's it going on lifting weights? I can't go off on him because he's helping me be accountable. So I say that kind of in jest, but still, my first piece would be gentle with yourself. And then my second piece of advice was be gentle with your partner. What are your thoughts? Any advice on how to make these things work in your relationship?
I mean, you're talking about this basically establishing the goals, right? Or basically just getting the communication piece. I mean, I think that's just the biggest thing of like, you know what, if we're gonna try to team up and do something, right? Whether it's an individual goal, like say it's only my goal, or it's a union goal with both of us. It's like, yeah, you got to have a little bit of grace, because like, I mean, nobody judges themselves in no, absolute. If I do it, I'm good. If I don't do it, I'm bad. So I think the goal is out there really to give you direction.
Yeah.
Right. To make sure that, you know what, I'm stepping in the direction I'm going. Yeah. I may not get to that goal. I don't think that means you failed. For me, it doesn't mean I failed if I don't obtain it.
Yeah.
But how close did I get to it?
Yeah.
Right.
It's about progress.
Because ideally, right, we have life. I mean, once you reach a goal, you have to reset another goal.
Yeah.
Right. So the idea of setting a goal, whether it's together, you and I, is like, man, okay, it's giving us these railroads to drive or live our life down, to say, okay, we're walking in the same way.
Yeah. And I guess my third suggestion that I would offer in this is to make it something measurable, so that if you say, hey, I want to read more, well, that's like, how do you gauge that?
Yeah.
Like, it might be like, hey, I want to read, one book a quarter. Like that's something that you can measure and say, well, I didn't read a book a quarter. I read 2 books this year, but last year I only read 1. So that's progress, like what you're saying. Or, hey, I want to have a date night every other week. Well, man, we had a lot going on, so we didn't get it on that time. So I think just creating positive patterns and trying to incorporate those into your life, because the goal of life and of 2021 is to progress, to move forward, to make great strides towards who it is that you want to be,
Yeah. I mean, I guess to me, there's a philosophy about goals as we kind of wrap up here. It's like, you know what, to me, it's about just being consistent. Even you're setting your goals and you're trying to achieve your goals, especially when you're doing something together with somebody, is like, can they consistently see me being consistent? It's consistent twice.
I got you though.
Is that consistent squared? How do I?
Consistent squared.
I don't know. It's a consistently see me consistent.
Yeah.
It's like, I like that. Okay.
I think that works. Am I consistently being consistent?
Right. Can you, like, you know what I mean? And you can see the steps, right? And you can look back and say, okay, he maybe the steps should have been bigger, should have been shorter, maybe should have been stronger, but like, I see the steps. And I see that him or her being consistent in the goals that we've established, or the goals that he set for himself or herself, and go move in that direction.
Yeah. And that takes some thought. So that takes some processing.
So it absolutely does.
Thank you all for joining us as we enter 2021. You've got this. Make sure you connect with us on Facebook and Instagram, and check out our website for more content and resources, fusedmarriages.com. Let's talk about it.
You're listening to Fused with Tristan and Michael.